this is the beauty of Smash, right? Of Ultimate. There are so many characters. There are so many character specialists. This is the game where anybody can find their soul main, and we're seeing two do so here. You're showing you something that you don't see at a high level very often. Two of the best reps for their character, not just in the region, but really anywhere.
Yeah, like I say, you're not... I think TheActuary is one of the more aggressive Zeldas I've ever seen. It starts off with this passive playstyle where you see... Zelda will set up a bunch of Phantoms to kind of get things going. You have the Reflector for Swordfighter, so you can check that too. But then they get real frame trap heavy. Yeah. That's the scary part. Hindsight is a frame trap passive-based player as well, so he's going to be looking for a lot of landing options out of TheActuary, and that's going to be the most difficult thing to try and deal with, as things like that will catch you from a mistake spot dodge.
I was going to say, Hindsight's frame traps and tech chases are some of the most consistent of any player I've ever seen. Really impressive stuff. I was talking with TheActuary actually earlier about playing against Zelda and just the CT scene, and he was like, yeah, a lot of people just still don't know this matchup. Like, nobody knows the Phantom spacing, for example.
That move, though, that move being is 16%, and usually Hindsight knowing the tricks from Actuary, except for the fact that still lasts a bit longer, so you can go for Nehru's Love. But Hindsight is also a matchup check, because you have to watch out for down throw, up air percentages, tornado, up air percentages. Basically anything involving that up air.
I believe isn't down throw though not true. If you mix up your DI, you have to read it. You can't react. Seeing it,
it all depends on the speed and falling weights of some characters too. But Actuary also super accurate with those fairs and bears. And I wouldn't be surprised to see at some point Nehru's Love go try to check up B. Not necessarily that it wins the trade, but just get him to fast fall. Just get that free plummet.
No, absolutely. And I was saying earlier about the Phantoms that nobody knows the spacing just because how impressively Hindsight spacing has been. He is the person in the CT scene who knows this matchup, using the platform there to get that extension off the tornado and find this corner situation. But Zelda doesn't have the best frame data. When she hits you, it's scary. Finding her way out of the corner, just threatening with even a jab.
Yeah, that passive playstyle of Hindsight does help here too against things like the Phantom, not even just the spacing. He knows that I have plenty of time because I'm the one who's trying to get you to fall for my tornadoes and such. But this is an extremely close game here in this game one. I wouldn't be surprised as the set goes on if we see a smaller stage, depending on who is the one that lost out further. Like Hindsight trying to force it maybe to small battlefield, but Hindsight right now is going to get the untechable as that bear takes it out.
And that was so, that was so necessary by Actuary in like a mental sense. But also, if you didn't notice, that was the very end of Hindsight's up B. He wasn't making it back.
Yeah,
he was dead anyways. Hindsight
it has this weird little drift like at the top where they kind of hover into it. But you just remove that scenario entirely. And Actuary also building up this lead heavy, going for that falling up air. You think that it's punishable because of how huge it is, but it's not. And that's a jump burned. Almost catches him with that dash attack. And again, the frame traps and the option coverage from Actuary are absurd.
And again, there was the hover you were talking about. Also, Swordfighter's grab hitbox, if you ever have the opportunity to see it visualized, is huge. That character has magnet hands for days, both on the horizontal and vertical axis, so it does also help as well. Hindsight just beautiful shield discipline, not getting caught by the lightning kick, but getting called out for an F smash in turn. Actuary with the timing mix-up, and that's not something you see a lot at a lot of levels of Ultimate, but as you get into the higher levels of play, you start to see players play faster by default, but realizing that the power isn't just in speed mix-ups and changing the speed of your play, but playing fast and then slowing down and then playing fast again. Because some players can only play so fast. But once you have a speed where everyone plays fast, you start to mix in different varieties of slow and say, how well can you change
It's that same thing of if if your neutral game is buns, you're going to get blown up for it. But also, if you go for the same mix-ups every time, it's no longer a mix-up. Like, you have to be able to layer options, especially as a character like Zelda, like Swordfighter at the higher levels, to get people to fall for them because they're not the fastest characters overall. Like you're seeing with the speed, the constant holding forward. The constant holding forward actually goes against you in these matchups, which is kind of the most stressful part about it because both of you want the other to approach so bad, and they just don't. So you have to be the one that has better mix-up to approach behind things like that Phantom, behind things like that Chakram, which Actuary was able to do better that game one.
And one of the things about CT2 is just the
he changed his moveset.
Oh, he did. You don't see the Shuriken come out from Hindsight very often at all. It's starting to see a bit of a renaissance in the Swordfighter community because there's certain confirms that you can get off of it. Air dodge, unfortunate.
There's
the weak hit of lightning.
He didn't put the tag on but his name on Twitter was the SD King at one point because Hindsight contractually must SD at least once on stream and at least once in a set off stream every single tournament. Unfortunately for him, there goes his first one.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think that one was really.
It was an assisted one.
Well, he was clearly trying to get a tech, and Actuary just happened to. It didn't even look intentional. Hit the weak hit instead of the strong hit, so it didn't put in a tech situation.
Also, something else too. He took away Tornado and he went for Sword Thrust to be able to have a burst option because Tornado just constantly it wasn't setting up what he wanted.
Yep, but also Shuriken Sword Thrust, actually they confirm, you can confirm Shuriken into Sword Thrust as well, so it can also become a very strong burst option, and it gives you range to threaten a kill from a very strong distance.
And it really lets you change your recovery too. That's a pretty big aspect of it because, however, getting caught once again, that up air actually now, not just with that early edge guard, but that's going to make it a lot harder.
He got conditioned into the jump because he got scared. He went onto the stage earlier and got called out by the wind box of Phantom, so that time trying to jump to avoid it, and instead getting hit out. But now he has the corner situation. Again, though, backing up, trying to stay away from the Phantom. Actuary just using it to cover through ledge instead of going on stage. And again, these players are just reversaling the corner, but the Sword Thrust coming out, maybe able to find the stock, but Actuary is so good on these teleport mixes, and Hindsight just missing the down smash. Going all the way deep, and again, the weak hit fair, gonna take it. Actuary with a 3 stock.
Actually, with a dominant 3 stock at that, changing things up, making it very difficult for Hindsight not only be able to get in, but after that early lead, Hindsight with the new moveset, he had no way to play keep away at all. He had no way to play good ledge traps. Granted, the way Actuary played, there were no ledge traps that were going to be happening. That just was not a thing. But right now, we got game number 3 around the corner. Remember, this is best of 5 territory. Everything from this point forward is best of 5. Hindsight has some time to figure things out, but that was a rough one in game 2.
Yes, it was. And one of the things that Actuary really exploited is that not only is Mii Swordfighter's recovery not great, but it has a decent, in terms of its distance or in terms of its hitboxes, but it also has a very decent amount of start up and just exploiting that with the weak hit and forcing no tech options. But I'm sorry, does that say G DQ'd from Lucas?
Yeah, I'll check in on that afterwards. That's pretty interesting because G won 2-1 against Bran.
I hope everything's okay.
But then left. I'm curious. I mean, it's only 625, so I'm curious to see why he did. I don't know. Maybe it just underperformed. Didn't really feel comfortable with it, but that sets up Kiwi versus Zoo later. So actually, that would be next technically.
Kiwi versus Multi versus Apex champions.
True.
You got to introduce him by his full title.
I've done it a couple times already, so I didn't want to keep doing it. But I'll find out exactly what happened with G after this because we're going to probably a momentary ad break to find out what's up. But we still have what could be a minimum of 3 games left, depending on if Hindsight is able to actually adjust and solve what's happening here.
And I mean, he's definitely a player capable of it. Hindsight, his biggest strength is his ability to adapt, is his ability to just catch your habit and then out of nowhere take a set he's losing super hard and then just steamroll you the rest of the time. And the amount of times that I've seen it and the amount of times that you've seen it, it feels like he does this every week. And so going down 0-2, yeah, it's not where you want to be. And it's certainly not where Hindsight wants to be. But he has one of the best mentals of anybody in the scene and is really going to push Actuary to his limit.
The biggest thing is that he does have this mental drop, though, when he gets pushed into those situations where he gets knocked out early. So hopefully he can rebound from that. But, of course, this is top 8 right now. Everybody's in the money here with top 8. Does Actuary get a 3-0, though? It's going to be a little bit more difficult in terms of Hindsight's going to be next to him now here on Smashville. But he didn't go with the other moveset still. And this is a ledge trap minigame. Zelda's going to win at the ledge traps 9 times out of 10. That would have killed. He took the hit, but I don't know if he's making this back regardless. He gets back up with the up B, but he took so much damage.
Yes, he did, but I understand why he's staying with this moveset. The lightning kick gonna close it out. It's because on this smaller stage, it's harder for Zelda to get away. It gives you more opportunity to get those confirms, but also, Actuary's been so good at these edge guards that a character that has predictable recovery as Swordfighter, you just kind of need that extra just to get away from this.
Yeah, and actually, okay, the early Sword Thrust actually getting him out of there because that was, he double jumped off. That gave him a free punish, but instead, Actually trying to hold down to mix it up, catch him off guard, gives him a free stock.
Yeah, no, very good stuff from both these players so far. Definitely Actuary knowing that he's on the verge of this 3-0, using that teleport mix-up. That one is not even remotely true, but Actuary catches people with those so often. His teleports are the trickiest of, I think, anybody I've ever seen play this character.
Yeah, I've seen, I mean, there are some really good Zeldas out there. Of course, you got people like Ben and company. I'm always a big fan of seeing them. But it's very different seeing what happens here. But that one was a true Hindsight SD. And that's why Hindsight is taking a good second up on the top of that platform, because what was pretty solid has now become what is most likely going to be a 3-0 for Actuary, because Swordfighter is not the best when playing from behind, and Zelda is building up on that right now.
That being said, if Hindsight can take the stock, he definitely has the potential as a player to make this happen. And his reads are so good, and he's definitely starting to catch on to Actuary's habits, right? His punishes have become so much more efficient here. You saw him try and catch a backer, but it just didn't come out soon enough. Has to go all the way down, and there's the Neighbor's Love you were talking about, but Hindsight barely managing to fight his way back.
Yeah, that's going to be a down throw up air, so Hindsight not out of this just yet. If he could get him to around 90-ish again, that's another down throw up air, or get near those up to air dodge bait ranges too. But Actuary does have him in that spot where he must rush in. And so far, it's actually working.
That sword thrust spaced just over the Phantom was so smart by Hindsight. It's so scary to put yourself in that position, but doing so is that, and the explosive flame just catching him out. He was opting for those high recoveries. Actuary wasn't punishing him. He thought he had gotten away with it because he was getting past the up airs, but Actuary was actually just setting him up to get caught by that, the invisible circle. That's just a heartbreaker for that.
Yeah,
and really good
Din's
stuff
fire is, you know, it may seem like one of those like noob killer type things, but it's actually really solid and very well done. Hindsight, that was you broke the contract like 4 times. That one was a true one though. The contract of you having the SD at least once in